Dave Portnoy, El Presidente, is a fraud. He has no core values, no defined set of beliefs. He has no redeeming qualities other than his wealth. Remove his money, and he wouldn't have a friend in this world. If we weren't living in an era completely hostile to masculinity, Portnoy would be broke in Boston delivering pizza.
Oh, let's bring in, join me now, the host of Fearless, American sports journalist and columnist, Jason Whitlock. Jason, I am so glad to finally get you on the show. I've been trying to do this for a very, very long time. I watched this little feud going on Twitter between you and Portnoy, and just I will say I'm gonna take your side on this, my friend. I think Portnoy does not represent me as a healthy male in American society. So what started this? What sparked this feud?
What sparked it was Dave and Barstool removed some content from Alex Stein, the comedian that goes around mocking people on the left and the right, or establishment people, Republicans and Democrats. And I saw, and then Dave started attacking Alex Stein after Stein called him out on it. And it's just my take. Alex Stein is what Barstool used to be. Very irreverent, very against the establishment, very disruptive. And ever since Penn National acquired Barstool Sports, Dave and the brand Barstool have been coming more and more pro-establishment, more and more woke. And then it really hit home in June when Roe v. Wade was overturned. And Dave has every right to be pro-choice. Doesn't bother me that he's pro-choice. But he put together an argument about being pro-choice that irritated me because Dave likes to portray himself as the ultimate American, a patriot. But his whole argument against the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade was that basically the founding fathers were racist, they owned slaves, and the Constitution was out of date and needed to be rewritten. He's making the ultimate argument of the left. And I think that's a betrayal of who he pretends to be and who he always pretended
Jason,
Barstool was.
I remember a while back before he sold half the pen of Barstool and then sold the other half recently. Back in the day, he did an interview with President Trump at the White House, and he had some very conservative values and ideas then. What happened that he's now shredding or worse, saying that the Constitution is a living, breathing thing, as the left likes to say?
He sold out, the money. And look, he's been under attack by the left for his sexual misbehavior. He's probably scared to death. Dave's a very irresponsible party boy. He's probably scared to death that he's going to get Me Too. And the way to protect yourself from being Me Too is to toe the leftist line. If you toe the leftist line on important issues, they play by a whole different set of rules. There's a bunch of things you can get away with in corporate media as long as you're on message, and that's why you see.
Can he do that? Can he do that? Jason, remember it was I think Business Insider who ran some it was a fairly extensive piece, investigative piece on Dave Portnoy and the women who've accused them of some harassment, I believe, allegedly. Let's roll a little soundbite of when Dave was on the street. Someone wanted to take a selfie, but a young woman saw it and didn't like what happened. Let's listen.
Zoom in on it.
That's me, right?
Why?
You're a jerk. Zoom in on him and see how soulless he is.
Why do you say that?
Because I've seen the that you write.
By who?
And also
Say
your
it.
anti-union is disgusting.
Anti-union?
I hope your Barstool Sports dies and rots in the ground.
We're
just
20
like
years,
you,
though. We're 20 years.
One bite. You're ugly, by the way. You're ugly.
So Jason, Portnoy posted that on Instagram himself, and he somehow thought he got the best of that. How does he revamp his image after all this?
Well, I'm not sure if he cares about revamping his image as much as he cares about surviving. And look, the left does not like Barstool Sports, doesn't like Dave Portnoy, and wants to destroy Dave Portnoy. He's just in survival mode. And so part of his survival tactic is to try to move to the left and take himself out of their crosshairs. It's not going to happen. He's a heterosexual man, so he's always going to be under attack by that group. And plus, they know he's a phony. They know that he's gotten to a place of power and wealth because masculinity has been so under attack in modern culture that we take perverted forms of masculinity and overvalue them, and people are attracted to them because authentic Christian masculinity is under such attack and has been hidden so well that we mistake the kind of masculinity Dave portrays as real masculinity. And he's made a fortune doing that, but we're seeing the man sell out in real time. And I don't think his brand, from people that have followed it from the beginning, they can see the changes in Barstool, they can see the changes in Dave, and that's just going to continue.
I think
he's
you're
a man
right,
with
Jason.
no country.
Jason, I was one of millions who used to love the Barstool stuff on Instagram. The short bits they do, they're fun, they're funny. They press the limits at times, but I don't know. He made a lot of money. He made a lot of money selling Barstool, that's for sure. Can I talk to you a little bit about what my monologue is about this woke push in America? I think you represent my audience. I think you are a believer in the Constitution. You believe in America being a center-right country with a moral compass, and it seems to be going astray with all these teachers and all these pride parades. Listen, I'm a libertarian, Jason. I don't care what you do as an adult, but you start playing around with this with the minds and bodies of our children. That's where I draw the line. Where do you stand on this?
Well, what I am mostly is someone that believes that America became great and was a great nation because of its Judeo-Christian values. We are now betraying those values. The left keeps talking about Christian nationalism and trying to demonize anybody with Christian values. And what they're really trying to do is empower secular nationalism. And they want a godless country. And so everything you did in your monologue is a reflection of a godless society and a godless country. And children will be under attack in a country that has no Judeo-Christian culture or values. And that's why the left and this secular movement is out trying to groom our kids for their lifestyle, which is godless.
Are you surprised how fast it's happening, though? I mean, it just seemed to spurt up in the last couple of months, and we're seeing more and more of these videos, and no one seems to be outraged with it besides maybe Jason Whitlock, Eric Bolling, and a handful of others.
I'm not surprised by it. Now, years ago, I was, but I would say, Eric, for the last 7, 8 years, I've been trying to explain to people that these social media apps, Silicon Valley, Northern California, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it is rigged. It's put this culture, this godless culture, on steroids. And we've all fallen into the matrix. And within this matrix, as they try to recreate reality and American culture, it's the social media apps and social media pressure that has put this whole thing on steroids and why it's happening so quickly. And I've been literally trying to tell people for 7 or 8 years, this is the agenda. Everything you're seeing is our cultural center used to be New York, and a New York liberal is very different from a San Francisco liberal in many, many ways. And we're starting to see that. San Francisco, Northern California is a godless paradise. That's why San Francisco is basically hell on earth right now. And they're turning the rest of America into a reflection of San Francisco.
You know what blows me away, Jason, and we kind of ran out of time here. I want to bring you back because this whole system doesn't work. It falls apart if corporate America steps up and says no. Instead, corporate America, for some reason, is embracing this. We talk about it a lot, but if the boardroom said no, we're not going to embrace this whole woke movement, and they can't finance it, and it's not okay, and they're not afraid of being boycotted, the whole system goes back to, maybe brings us back to, a moral compass. But again, a topic for another time. Jason Whitlock, I'm inviting you to come back because we really love having you. I'm glad I finally got you on, sir.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you having me.
All right. By the way, folks, we reached out to Dave Portnoy. Personally, I did. I called him. I left a message on his phone, and I texted him. But guess what? I haven't heard back yet. I will report back if he decides to man up and come on out.